5 years ago, I started medical school, and here we are. I'm a doctor now. It's crazy that I started as a little 18-year-old baby during peak COVID, and now here we are. I'm 23 years old, and honestly, I've changed so much. I've learned so much about myself and about just the world. And of course, I've made so many mistakes along the way as well. So if you're about to start medical school, or you're currently in medical school, or if you're just interested in what I've got to say, then this video is for you. Here are 5 key things that I've learned during my time at medical school. The first thing is to be clear on your academic goal. Everyone has different academic goals. One person might want to get top in a year, someone else might just want to pass, and maybe you want to aim for the middle. But speaking as someone who has got top 1% in the year before, and as someone who's actually just scraped a pass, I've experienced kind of everything. And the important thing to note is that there is no right or wrong answer on what you want to achieve and what your goal is. It's just important to actually align your actions with that goal. So if you want to come top 1%, fine, but you're probably going to have to make some sacrifices as well. So it's all just a trade-off. I read somewhere that there's no solutions, only trade-offs. So you need to understand what your goal truly is. One thing that I will tell you from just general consensus from friends, people I know, and from me, is that no one wished that they studied harder. I've asked a bunch of friends this question, what would you wish you'd done differently for this video? And the one thing that keeps coming up is they wish they just had more fun and enjoyed themselves at uni and just done more things, created more memories and experiences. Not a single one of them said, oh, actually, I wish I studied harder. I think that's quite telling on the fact that university in general is a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and there are many things outside of pure academic goals. And also, I don't think anyone really talks about this, but how well you do in exams isn't a direct correlation to how good of a doctor you are. Sure, you need to have the knowledge, you need to be a safe, competent person. In reality, when you're preparing for a medical school exam, they test you on so many different things, and often things that you don't even see often in real life on placement in the hospital. What's more important, in my opinion, is the soft skills, right? How do people feel when you speak to them? How warm and approachable are you? How good is your communication skills? Do you have good emotional control in certain situations? Can you act under pressure? A lot of these things doesn't come from studying for an exam. So number 1 is don't let your grades define you, and remember that no one wished they studied more. Number 2, healthy competition is good. I feel like in this day and age and in the media, competition is kind of frowned upon. People don't encourage competition. Competition leads to innovation in business, people pushing each other and lifting each other up as a result. But of course, competition can be unhealthy, right? If taken to the extreme. If you're someone that's ever played a sport, I don't know about you, but if there's no winner or loser, it's hard for me to find myself motivated to train or practice. And I think that's just human nature. Be self-aware enough not to compare yourself to everyone else. The third thing is you are not immune to burnout, okay? Doesn't matter who you think you are. I promise you, if you did one thing, one single thing for the rest of your life, you're probably gonna get sick of it, because as it's just human nature that we like variety and we like to experience different things. If you're constantly banging your head against the table in the library every single day until late in the night, thinking that that's a productive thing to do, you're wrong. Because burnout can manifest itself in very ugly ways that you want to try and avoid. So how do you avoid burnout? Is just from taking care of the basics. Exercise, sleep well, eat well, and take care of the non-negotiables. I remember there was a time a couple years ago when I didn't believe in burnout as well. And I didn't believe in, you could study too hard. And so I was doing study sessions late into the night in the library. I remember there was a moment, maybe 2 to 3 weeks before my exams, where I just felt terrible. And I didn't really know why. It just came out of nowhere to me. But looking back, it was just a slow, gradual decline. And the low mood just crept on me slowly before I even realized it. And that can happen when you're not taking care of the basics. When the amount of studying comes at a sacrifice to your mental health, your relationships, your ability to have time to just do exercise, then that's the sign you need to reevaluate. Chronic stress will literally make you ill. It will manifest itself as stomach problems, anxiety, weight loss. Physical symptoms occur due to chronic stress. The fourth thing is that you are the sum of the 5 closest people to you. You might have heard this before, but it's that important that I want to say it again, because sometimes we just need to be reminded rather than told. There's a saying that if you're around 2 smokers, you'll become the 3rd. When I was studying in my 3rd year of medical school, when I got top 1% in the year and I made a lot of progress in my relationships, on my fitness, my physical health, that was the year when I was surrounded with people who pushed each other. We all had this healthy competition going along. We all genuinely wanted everyone else to do well. And as a result, we all achieved towards the very top of our year. And looking back at that situation, it was almost guaranteed. Standard was set up here. And so anytime anyone fell below it, there was always that reminder that the standard was there. You just naturally push yourself to be more ambitious and achieve more with the right people. It also applies to how you spend your social time. So I remember during my 1st year of medical school, I wanted to experience uni life, right? I came from a very sheltered background at home where I didn't really get to go out. So I went out, I partied a lot, I drank a lot. It was fun for a while, but eventually I realized that actually I wasn't very happy when I was drinking like every other day. It took a long time for me to really come to that conclusion, because when you're surrounded by people who love to get drunk, who love to party, then it's very difficult to say no. You're going to be left out, right? And no one wants to feel isolated or not really part of the group. So that's why it's so important to surround yourself with positive influences. What I came to realize is that most people who are drinking a lot on the weekend, they do it to escape the current reality that they're facing, because they're not currently happy with the reality that they're living in. I realized that no, I'd rather make my day-to-day life something I'm happy to live in, rather than stress my way through to the weekend and then finally be like, let's have fun, let's escape reality. Finally, the last thing is to speak to strangers. When I was in 1st year, I was super shy. Like I wouldn't really speak to anyone that I didn't know. But over the years, it's literally been one of the most life-changing things I've done, right? Speaking to strangers is just a muscle you build. Once you do it, it just becomes easy. And now I've made so many incredible relationships and connections through talking to random people. Because at the end of the day, your one conversation, you never know where that conversation might lead. Just think about how many things that you've experienced yourself in your own life, what you've been through, all your years of being alive in this world. That random person also has 20 years of experience under their belt. You're one conversation away from learning something new or just completely changing the direction of your life in a positive way with very little risk of any negatives, right? What's the worst that's going to happen when you speak to a stranger? It's literally been one of the most important skills I've ever learned. If you think about it also, at university or college in America, there is no other situation where you're surrounded by thousands of people similar age to you. It's such a rare thing to happen if you think about it. When you start working and you get a girlfriend and you join clubs, societies, you're stuck in this little bubble. Whereas at university, you're surrounded by thousands and thousands of people. You may as well take that opportunity. It's literally an opportunity of a lifetime to have that many people similar age to you, where you could potentially, you could be a lifelong friend, could be a business partner, it could be your future wife. Like, you just don't know. And it's hard to think downstream, but imagine the person you meet in that lecture theatre. What I've noticed so far is so many of my best relationships have just come from unexpected situations, not expecting anything. I think somehow when you don't come into things with a need, it's at that exact moment that you get what you were looking for. And yeah, that's it. I'm very excited to start working as a doctor soon.